Here with Tod Litt again of Night Force Optics, and we're going to talk about zeroing your rifle. Now, we've mounted the scope, we've got our proper torque on the rings, we've got our proper eye relief, and now it's time to set our zero. Now, Tod, what zero do you recommend, or what zero do you use?
Paul, personally, for my purposes, I choose the 200-yard zero. It works best for my situation and my utilization of what I'm going to be using the rifle for. Not every average citizen is going to have access to a 200-yard range, so 100-yard may be all that they can get. 100 yards totally acceptable. It's just being able to identify your purposes of the rifle and going out and zeroing your rifle for your intended uses. You know, there's several different methodologies behind zero, the 100, the 200, the 300. It's just identify your use for the rifle and choose what works best for you and what location you have to go out and zero your rifle.
Now, this rifle right here, this rifle scope, I should say, has a zero-stop turret on it. Now, the zero-stop turret is something that Night Force likes to highlight. Can you tell us a little bit about the zero-stop turret and how we would use that?
Right, Paul. What the zero-stop feature allows the shooter to go out and get their zero and then remove the turret assembly and adjust a set of clutches in there and set it so that they can go back to a hard zero, so that under any conditions of lighting conditions, times of stress, they can always return to their zero by hitting a hard stop when they spin back down. So suppose they have to spin up 60 minutes of elevations. That's 3 elevations of the turret. They quickly lose where their position is on the adjustment scale. So all they have to do is go right back to zero and spin it down until they hit that hard definitive wall.
And you always have a repeatable zero. Now, can you show us how we would do that with this particular optic?
We want to start off by taking a wrench that was supplied with our scope. We've got 2 opposing screws on our turret cap. We want to loosen these. We're going to remove our turret. Once we have the screws backed out far enough to where we can remove the turret, set the turret to the side. We've got 4 screws on the top of our clutch face. We want to loosen these to where they're flush with the top of the clutch assembly. You want to make sure you don't come any further than flush. So now we've got our clutch assembly loose and our clutch assembly is moving. We've got 2 clutch faces we want to bring together to meet. So we spin our clutch assembly around till those clutch faces meet, and we'll retighten these screws. We're going to retighten them to about resistance plus about 1/8 of a turn of the Allen wrench. No need to over tighten them. Now we've got our clutch assembly. Now we're going to return and put the turret cover back on. What we want to do is take it and set it to zero, press it firmly in place and holding it while lined up, and retighten our opposing screws on our turret cap. So now we have our zero stop set. So we can dial all the elevation we want and spin right back down and hit a hard stop.
It's always going to go back to where it's supposed to be.
That's right, it's going to hit that hard stop.
That's fantastic, and I think a lot of folks at home, now that you've explained it, will really appreciate that feature. Now, before we close, where should the folks go?
www.nightforceoptics.com, and there's also a tutorial how to adjust this zero stop on there as well.